Morning, we're hearing from Oklahoma U.S. Senator James Lankford about President Biden's speech last night. I spoke with him this morning about his reaction to the president's priorities and his calls for unity in the face of Russian aggression.
It was a long list of liberal priorities of things that they wanted to be able to do. It started with Ukraine. I think that's the right spot to be able to start for him, quite frankly. The entire nation is interested in what our nation is going to do to respond to the brutality that we're seeing from the Russians in Ukraine right now. So it's good to be able to hear the sanctions that we're putting in place. Here's the effect of those sanctions so far. Here's the European cooperation and worldwide cooperation. That was good to hear. It's glad to be able to hear President Biden step up as well and say, we're going to cut off airspace to the Russians. The Europeans actually did that 3 days ago. And so it's good to see the United States finally catching up to the Europeans on that particular piece. And then to be able to say we're going to continue to be able to stand with them, providing humanitarian assistance, providing ways to be able to walk alongside. That's the right tone to be able to strike at this moment as we're all praying for and watching for what's happening in Ukraine. Now, there's lots of areas of disagreement that followed that, but I think it was the beginning point was the right place to start.
What areas did you disagree on? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Sure. Yeah. He immediately went to oil prices at that point and said, we're going to release 600 million or 60 million barrels of oil from the strategic petroleum reserves worldwide. That sounds like a lot. Actually, that's 3 days worth of oil use in the United States or less than a day's of oil use worldwide. So it's actually not very much. That doesn't actually solve the issues. It just sounds like they're doing something, but that certainly doesn't fix the issue with prices. And what the Europeans want right now is not a release from the strategic petroleum reserves. They need an ongoing supply that's consistent. Right now, they're dependent on Russia for that oil and gas. They'd like to be able to buy it from us or buy it from other nations. If we would increase our supply, if other nations would increase theirs, that would be the bigger opportunity. My fear is that Biden is so beholden to the environmental left that he can't say we're going to produce more to meet Europe's needs. So he'll say we'll do a short-term patch for a day or two, but it doesn't really solve the long-term problem. We've got to be able to do that. President Biden also talked about inflation as if it was just a result of COVID. That's just not true. Yes, we have inflation because of COVID, but other nations are not seeing the inflation that we're seeing right now, and they experienced COVID as well. So Australia and the UK and Japan and Canada, even Germany, they're not experiencing the kind of inflation that we're experiencing here. The inflation we're experiencing in the United States is directly tied to the Biden proposals from last March and the dramatic $2 trillion in spending that he put on the economy as the economy was growing out of COVID. He actually made a bad situation worse rather than make it better. Other nations didn't make that same mistake. They're not experiencing inflation the same way we are.
I want to touch on both of those topics. First, Governor Kevin Stitt, along with A.G. O'Connor, Senator Inhofe, sending a letter to President Biden, urging him to take steps to reduce some of those energy prices. And we know Oklahoma is an energy producing state. What role do you see Oklahoma playing right now? And how do you plan to speak to the president about making this happen?
So I actually sent a letter to the president yesterday directly dealing with energy issues. We're actually working on legislation we'll release in the next couple of days on practical ways that we could actually reduce the price of energy for the United States and also provide energy to Europe so that they're not so dependent on Russia. Some of them are obvious. Keystone Pipeline is a Canadian pipeline, but that Canadian oil was to be sold out of the port of Houston. That's why they're doing a pipeline through the United States so they could put it on the world market. Europe would love to be able to have that pipeline that would help Europe's stability. Helping us would be increasing production here in the United States. Right now, President Biden has a moratorium, a cap on any new drilling anywhere on any federal lands in the United States. They're not doing new leasing offshore. They're not doing leasing onshore. That creates a problem. So right now we're doing drilling and exploration on private lands where we're blocked from the massive amounts of public lands nationwide. That's a problem for us in trying to be able to increase supply. Also, President Biden just this last week put new restrictions on natural gas pipelines and natural gas export terminals. That's going to make it harder to send natural gas to Europe, also make it much more expensive to be able to get natural gas here in the United States as well. So he's ramping up regulations and restrictions and increasing the price and decreasing availability. We've got to be able to do the opposite. We can do this clean. We know how to be able to do this clean. It's just a matter of opening up those opportunities so the prices will come back down again.